I'm not particularly impressed by what he's done.
I get called a pimp a lot, but and the reason I use the term is because I don't see it as a negative term. I see it as positively inspirational and motivating person.
Nah.
That's what he did.
Nah.
That's what he did.
Nah. Pimps, electronic and otherwise, are the lowest form of life.
My MO was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me.
I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house and make me money.
I had these guys selling their houses, life savings, loans, all of it to me. Give me it all.
I was all about trying to get paid.
So, seems like a lot of conservatives are turning on the Tates and the Red Pill in general.
What are you charged with?
That's a really good question. I'm charged with being the head of an organized criminal group, which is in charge of recruiting girls to make TikTok videos.
They face charges which include human trafficking and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women.
OnlyFans is the best hustle in the world.
Are they accusing you of using violence or?
No. They're accusing me of using the lover boy method, coercing them by being nice.
I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You fuck the girl. After you fuck the girl, you do the PhD test.
So yeah, on CobraTate.com I have my PhD program, and that is, PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm,
Clever.
And
Clever.
That teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me.
And you're always working. Why don't you work for me so we spend more time together? Work for you doing what? So I'll have a webcam business. Oh, I don't want to do that. So okay, I know you don't want to do that, but listen, come and let's have a meeting. Let's just talk about it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Fine. But let me explain it to you properly. In fact, I'll bring one of the girls who works for me. Your bottom bitch is the one who does the selling. You don't do the selling. The girl has to hear it from a girl. And this is where your bottom bitch has to be trained. That's why I said it's so important to have a good first girl.
Because that's what I did. That was my MO was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me.
This girl's like, okay, well, I'll try it. Put both girls on camera together the first day, so the new girl can sit there and just sit with the other girl and get drunk. Give him a bottle of vodka.
First night that I worked for him, Andrew bought me like 5 bottles of wine. So I got completely drunk because I'd never done webcam work. So I was very, very nervous.
And that's how I got rich. So that teaches everything I know from start to finish about not only getting girls, not only obtaining them, but retaining them. Because that's a completely different game as well.
And over time, I just built up this big little empire of webcam girls. At one point, I had 4 locations, 75 girls working for me. I'd take around half of the money, around 50%.
You take 50%.
Around 50%.
They thought they were on 50%. And I said that the disparity is because of taxes.
He would just pay me a flat fee of £15 an hour.
We got to the point where we had these guys falling in love with my models, serious, big time in love, right? Sending crazy money. And they were convinced they were going to meet the chick. This is almost where I kind of felt bad. Because they're like, can we meet? I've sent you $200,000. I had these guys selling their houses, life savings, loans, all of it to me. Give me it all.
I was all about trying to get paid.
It always kills me that these guys are now the advocates for men and like men suffering and all this stuff.
Yeah,
but they just made their empire of money on stealing from lonely, depressed men.
Yeah.
It just kills me. So the irony is so fucking mwah. It's like, hey, lonely, pathetic man, I'm going to save you. But I also made all my money by taking advantage of you. It's just so beautiful. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna set it up so that I'm gonna create this thing with these girls.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take your money. Then I'm gonna turn around and take your money by making you hate these girls.
Yeah. It is crazy.
That's
like when you put it in a holistic, you're right.
You double dipped. You double dipped.
Yo.
And it's the man saying, yo, I burn preacher, simps, and this and that, and rooting for this motherfucker. You got double dipped.
Yeah, because now he's going on conservative outlets like Tucker Carlson talking about how bad prawn is. And I'm like, bro, you made all of your fortune on prawn.
All the cars,
why
all the
are you
mansions.
sitting here acting different? You ran a webcam business.
Like I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house and make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense.
You're saying I never did those things, but you said that.
I'm gonna be honest with you, even I haven't seen some of these videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, do I think this dude did some trafficking? Absolutely, I believe it. I mean, based off what he said himself, that's why I believe it. Here's the thing. I don't believe somebody can run an empire with 75 different women, all of these different locations, bottom bitches, all these enforcers, and there was never no violence. From what I saw from them WhatsApp messages, there were clearly threats of violence and clearly a bunch of women who didn't want to be there. So I'm just saying, what I've seen, it doesn't make me believe that this dude was kosher and kind. No, he even tells himself, I use sex to manipulate them. I was basically coercing them, lying to them about how much they get paid and stealing their money. This dude did everything shady under the sun, admits to it on his own videos by self-snitching, and now wants to claim like, I did nothing wrong, I'm a great person. Maybe you are a much better man today, but the shit that you did in the past is still there.
Were there any other instances where there was physical abuse?
I saw him smack girls with a belt.
Some ideas? I've seen this one.
Yeah.
This is the one that I didn't believe because the girl came on camera and said it was just BDSM stuff. Listen, if she said it, then I'm going to just let that go and move it by the wayside. I wouldn't call this against him personally.
I'm not particularly, what would you say, impressed by what he's done on the sex business front. It seems to me a bit on the pimpy side, let's say.
I get called a pimp a lot, but and the reason I use the term is because I don't see it as a negative term. I see it as positively inspirational and motivating person.
IMP, positively important.
Nah.
That's what he did.
Nah.
That's what he did.
Nah.
That's what he did.
Nah.
PIMP. Play it back.
No, I heard what he did.
You're not accepting?
Nah.
You're not?
Nah. That is maybe the most cringe fucking shit. Nah. It's like when the girls talk about crystals and fucking astrology. That's on that level of cringe. Oh.
No, it's the bitch. The bitch. I'm a bitch. Babe in total control of herself.
Yay!
That's it.
That's an L, bro.
That's it.
That's an L, bro. I get compliments on my skin all the time. People be asking, what's your skincare routine? How do you get your skin? And for a lot of fellas, talking about skincare is a little bit awkward because either we're too ashamed to do it or it seems a little bit too feminine. But the truth is, having rough skin or having all these little dents everywhere isn't something that you necessarily want, especially if it's things that you can easily avoid through very, very good products. I recommend going through that process. And that's where Tate Henley comes in. They got a great system in place where you can use their products to achieve your skincare goals. I personally recommend that you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash, which gets rid of all the dirt and grime on your face. Then you got a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of all the dead skin cells. And an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because we all need to make sure that our skin is protected from the sun. And the cool thing about Tate Henley is all their boxes come with instructions. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tate Henley get tons of benefits like 20% off retail price, the ability to pause or cancel at any time, as well as free US shipping.
If you click on the link below, you will not only save 30% off your first box, but you will also receive a gift. Get it. It's uncomplicated skincare routine for men. That's what I use. Look at this. Flawless. That shit's nice. Compared to this morning, you can do a before and after.
Pimp, positively inspirational and motivating person.
They're accusing me of using the Loverboy method, coercing them by being nice.
Let me read you then what you have said about what you have done.
Sure.
You have said, my job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, get her to fall in love with me to the point where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam so we could become rich together.
I don't think that's what I personally said. I think
that's exactly what you said on your website.
No, I've never said that.
Nah, bro. If you got that on your website, you try to pretend like you don't own the website afterwards. Because he said that. He said, I don't remember. It's on my website. But he advertises the website afterwards. It's just so crazy the way he's trying to switch around. And I understand because legally his life is on the line. So he wants to disassociate himself with a lot of his past, right? He's made his money from the sex trade. He's exploited these people. Now he wants to walk away scot-free with his money, which I understand. Any good criminal who's made a lot of money would want to be able to do that. But if you're being honest, this man did that shit and he said that stuff, and it's okay. You got to own it.
Tips on raising daughters so they don't end up 304s, prostitutes, on the pole, OnlyFans, etc. Most men I know don't have daughters for these reasons. I'll chime in very quickly and I'll say, 1, I have recruited, I think, although you've worked with a lot, more girls into, I guess, the adult entertainment industry than anyone else. I really have. And the one type of girl I couldn't recruit were girls with rich parents. Oh, do that for money. I don't need money. My family's rich. So when I see these broke boys on Twitter and on Instagram be like, oh, my daughter, I'm raising her right, and she's like 9 years old, but he like works some crappy job. He's a wagey. I'm like, she's going to get that Louis Vuitton purse one way or another. So you might want to level up your game and buy it for her, my G.
So since that video has gone viral, a bunch of people seen this video now and have some things to say. One of them being even Jordan Peterson, who came out. He was not holding back. Let me pull this shit up. In response to Andrew Tate in the recent video, he says, "Pimps, electronic and otherwise, are the lowest form of life." And people were like, no. I mean, you're not far off the truth. Listen, I don't know when this happened, or maybe this is a recent thing, but people are romanticizing pimping like it's a cool thing. No. Pimps and what they do to these women is rarely good, and very few of these women come back from that life. A lot of them fall completely by the wayside to addiction, or they end up dying shorter lives by becoming street prostitutes afterwards. But it's hard to come back from being in those kinds of situations. They destroy human life. So if anybody want to sit here talking about how pimps are, no, don't even try to sell me on that shit. Pimps are some of the lowest forms of life, and I'm not even mad at anybody who wants to say that. How do you feel about pimps? You a big fan?
No, I'm not a fan. No, I'm not a fan. How they were using bottom bitches and stuff like that to get other girls, and some of the girls were very impressed. And after that, what they go through and shit, yeah, no, not impressed.
Some people on the right, myself included, have always been a little skeptical of the guy and pointed out that he's literally a pimp, and that's not great. That's not very conducive to virtue. So Andrew Tate sat down with Tucker Carlson to insist that he's not really a pimp. And my friend Liz Wheeler over there juxtaposed his interview with Tucker with other things that he has said openly on camera, and makes it seem as though either Andrew Tate is suffering from a very serious bout of amnesia, or he lied to Tucker. Look, man, I never seduced women and manipulated them into working for me. That's what they're accusing me of. But isn't that so crazy? And then, as Liz points out, he's said many times publicly that this is exactly what he did. The best defense, which he sometimes makes, though recently has been trying not to make, is that he didn't the girls, he just seduced them.
You know what's so funny about that line of thinking too is like when you were thinking about the fact that this guy would joke about them being 15, 16, but like oftentimes they were young 18, 19-year-olds. And as a grown man seducing like such young impressionable minds to not only fall in love with you, it's like, I think it's one thing if you a grown ass man, if you want to make these women fall in love with you and then you want to marry them, okay, you know, a 12-year age difference, you want to do that for your life, that's fine. But turning them into sex workers when they're that young and impressionable, is very slimy behavior. And the reason why you go for these young women is because you know they're so malleable and you can take over their minds, and then that's why you do it, right? Okay. Not only because of their virtue, their youth, but also because you know they're malleable, right? So when you're using it for your own self-interest to make that, it makes it an extra level of slimy.
A predator in the jungle is not gonna go like, oh shit, that animal looks bigger than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's going to go from a smaller animal that looks like a prey.
No.
Then that's what I believe that's what he did. But then again, I believe that's what he did because that's what he said he did.
That's the only reason why. If he didn't put out those videos on
I
instructions,
wouldn't have any proof, but he said he did those things. Absolutely. It's like, I don't have much to say. Like, he said that.
I think a lot of people don't care because it's women on the other end suffering, one. And two, it's women who did sex work. Yep. And so for a lot of people, once they see that, they instantly start judging them and say they're less than human, right? Mm-hmm. They don't give a fuck, which is fair. You want to think that way, that's your choice to think that way. But I would say, how many of these women would have become that if it wasn't for this guy? He says it himself. Every girl that he hired had never done this line of work before. And they only did it because he said he made them fall in love with him. So this guy's creating the very kind of women you don't like, and then you guys are therefore shitting on them for becoming those kinds of women. Just saying, if you hate those women for what they do, you should hate him just as much for making them. But no, you want to praise him. Because deep down inside, I think a lot of the people who hate these sex workers also deep down inside want to be with them in different circumstances.
Well, the proof is whenever they go to different podcasts, you shit on them, but then subscribe to their OnlyFans.
Yep. That's why I don't like this stuff. Me, I'm perfectly fine with conservative people who want nothing to do with sex work and nothing to do with Andrew Tate. I think that's a perfectly fine thing to do based off the consistency of your morals. But people who shit on these sex workers, but also prop up the kind of man who made them, I just don't get that, in my personal opinion. And I think it's good that conservatives are distancing themselves from it, because they just look like clowns when they want to talk about, oh, abortion's bad, sex work is bad, this and that. But then at this time, like, the person that they're hailing as a hero is a fucking self-admitted pimp. Really? That's who? Someone who manipulates, scams. I think it's a bit weird to have those two things juxtaposed. But that's just my opinion. Anything else?
Positively impacting, manipulating people.
Hey, apparently.
Or whatever it is.
I don't know who was
He really thought he did something.
He be sounding cheesy as fuck.
He really thought he did
As the most influential man in the world in my Bugatti. It's like, okay, bro, how many times are you going to repeat you're the most influential man in the world? After the 100th time, every interview,